Hi friends, welcome back to another video with me. My name is Cotton Candy Doll. If you're new here, then welcome all. Hi. This is a shifting video. You might hear some noises in the background behind me, and you might hear some insanely happy laughter. That's all I've heard all morning, is the laughter. I think that's what woke me up to. So, I have this toy. Isn't it cute? It's cute, but it's also very ugly too. I just made this. Yeah. It's supposed to be a squishy. I screwed up the bottom. Screwed up the top. It's supposed to be, can you guys guess what it is? It's supposed to be cake. Anyway, it turned out really, really bad. So I'm just going to use this as my sort of de-stressor while I talk to you guys about what happened when I went back to my hero. Also, I do want to talk about what's happening in the country. We'll do that later after this, and I'll share something personal with you guys I've never told anyone. Yes, it does have to do with what's happening now, why I believe that women should have the right to do what they want with their bodies. Because you are basically the one that has to live with your decision, regardless of what you do. I say the same thing when someone's giving their opinion to you, they're telling you, you should do this, and you listen to them. And then it was never your decision, it was theirs. You just listened to them and you did this, and now it's like, now you're stuck with what you have to do. You have to try and find your way through the situation. And then what happens to them? They can't offer you any advice because they don't have any. They've already told you what to do, and it's like you listen to them, and it's kind of like, and I don't mean like someone that's like a counselor who's like experienced and they know what they're doing and they did it before. I mean people that are just pushing you towards something. And when you get there, they're kind of just like, good job. And you're like, well, I haven't really been, I haven't really had a lot of success here. And they kind of go, well, just keep trying, And it's like, I am trying. What more can I do? So I have like a huge issue with trusting people to begin with. So I went back to my hero, and I was with Keigo because I had spent my time with Toshinori already. By the way, me and Toshinori have not spoken in over a week. But I have heard from him. So Keigo is concerned about him. He said he's not talking, he's not saying anything. He's dropped Frodo up at the house. He's picked up Frodo. Frodo and him had his play date, and he brought him back, and Frodo was, just normal. And Toshinori has kind of shut down. I feel like he must have gone through some type of trauma. I really did mess up this time. And I think I hurt him. And I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. Actually, I did mean to. I wanted to hurt him in a way that was like, yeah, I hurt you, but at the same time, it's like, get over it. You do it to me all the time. It's like a back and forth relationship with each other. I haven't killed you. I haven't tried to I did carve you some hearts in you with a knife, but I mean, that doesn't make me like a terrible person. So, because you've also like, well, he shot me so many times with that tranquilizer in the back of his like woods house, his freaking garden maze or whatever the heck that is. Anyway, so when he told me that, oh, Toshinori is still upset and he's like shut down. I told him I know. And Keigo's like, what's going on between you two? He won't talk to me. And this is the thing, Toshinori, like I said, he's not gonna talk to Keigo about what happened to him. He's not gonna tell him what the doctor did, and he's not gonna. But I feel like that doctor is kind of what's the word? Like sadistic in a way anyway. He probably wanted to do that to Toshinori. Or I'm not really sure, or if he had to, but he seems very like curious and very like he wants to see your reaction to this, or he's done it so many times with Frodo. Like I want to see if I want to see if Frodo's able to do this, or I want to see if Frodo's able to do that. Cool. Let me just hold on one sec, guys. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. Insanely happy laughter just said they're gonna go get donuts. Yay! I'm happy. I told them jelly filled. I love jelly filled donuts. They're my favorite. Not the cherry cream ones, not the Boston cream ones, not like there used to be these donuts that had white cream on the inside. Not pudding, or what was it? It was white though, and it was like a whipped sort of cream. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Anyway, we just got way off subjects. Anyway, So like I said, that doctor is kind of like sadistic anyway. I don't even know why he went to him. He was probably too embarrassed to like go to another doctor and tell him he's having an issue. So I realized I really hurt him. I'm gonna go back and talk to him once he calms down. He's still not calm. I might write a letter first and say, hey, I don't know. There's no going back. I can't reverse what happened. I can't reverse what I did. I think I messed. Oh yeah, I hurt him. So it doesn't make me feel good at all. And I think this is a consequence of my action. And it's good for me to learn these things sometimes, because then I can remember why I did it in the first place and how I should handle the situation differently next time. Like, I guess I was still feeling like bitter, or what's the word, salty over that whole situation. I never talked to Toshinori about that scenario because he said he would never kill me. He said that was the closest thing he would come to killing me. So anyway, me and Kegel are sitting there at his house, and he said, well, I prepared a picnic for us, you, me, and Frodo, but Frodo can't go. And I said, well, why can't Frodo go? He said, well, Frodo is having a play date. Play date? With who? Is there another boy, is there another boy Frodo's age? Because that'll be so cute to see two little boys. I would love to dress them up together in the same onesies or pajamas. I mean, I would get permission from the mom, of course, before I did that, but he goes, no, it's a little girl. I'm like, oh, there's some girl. Well, who is she, And he's like, they're the same age, Frodo is, Frodo is going to be going over her house, I guess, a lot more often. So it's like, so I'm like, okay, well, I wanted to see him at least, but I guess I already saw him, so it's okay. I went to see Frodo earlier this week because I always see him every week. I have to, regardless of anyone else, I have to see Frodo. So me and him are going on this walk, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside. I'm sweating like a pig. Okay, my hair and stuff is starting to like get wet and everything. Walking, I'm just sweating, and I look at him, and he's cool as a cucumber. I mean, he is just chilling. He's got his shirt off. He's got on these he almost has on like swimsuit trunks, kind of. They're blue. So we're walking alongside, and he's like, hold my hand. And I'm like, I don't really want to hold your hand. It's kind of hot. And he goes, come on, just hold my hand. So I'm holding his hand. I'm still sweating up a storm. Then we sit down. He lays out this, oh, it is perfect. It's a yellow blanket, and we're under the shade of a tree. So the wind starts blowing. I'm getting a cooler breeze. I'm just like, okay, I'm glad I, showered before I came and, deodorized. Because it's really hot there for no reason. And I'm just surprised I'm able to feel this place. I'm able to feel the heat of the sun and just everything. I mean, if you guys have not shifted yet, once you do, you'll know, because it won't be a dream state. You'll literally be awake, touching and looking at everything. So there behind us, there's flat. Imagine there's grass. It's cut, okay? It wasn't freshly cut, so there's not like dander like floating in the air for me to sneeze off of from allergies. But there's trees in the background, okay? So it's just surrounding. The trees are kind of like this, and it's in the open. It's nice. And then we're under just this one tree. For some reason, it's the only tree in the whole park. And there's a bench like a couple feet from us. So me and Keiko are sitting there. I'm really just trying to keep cool. I don't want to touch him, but he just like wants to like touch me. So he reaches his hand over and he starts putting his hand up my shirt. And I'm like, we're at the park. We're in a public park. He's like, it's okay if we do this in this park. I'm like, no, it's not. There's people here. I'm like, and I'm looking around. I'm like, and the thing is, I haven't actually noticed these people. So they were sitting on the bench with each other, like full on making out. And then I look over and I see more blankets, like they just came out of nowhere, okay? And there's a couple, they're like over here, and they're making out, like he's straight up like removing his clothes and all that, and they're making out. And I look at Keigo and I go, what is this? And he's like, this is a makeout park. I brought us here so that we can have, so you can have lunch with me, but then we'll have dessert after. And I'm like, this is the kind of thing you need to prepare me for. You can't just drag me to places like this. He's like, I thought you were open-minded. I'm like, I am open-minded, but my mind was never closed enough that it needed to be open that much. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I actually, honestly, like, and I can't help it because these people are, okay, so we're in this big open area. The people around me, they're moaning and, you know, and I'm literally watching the lady next to me. She's not next to me, but she's like 5 feet away. They're like full on like naked. And so the guy, I can't see his face, but I see hers, and she has long red hair and her eyes are closed, and but you can literally see her face like being, her face is getting so red. I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's climaxing. And so the way they're sitting, he's sitting down, like, okay, just imagine sitting on the floor, like you're about to do like a stretch. Like, you know how when you touch your toes, kind of like that. She's sitting on top of him and they're like naked. They're not even covered. And so like, you can't help but, because of that atmosphere you're in, you start to get turned on too. So I'm like, well, why don't we get, you know, why don't we eat first so we have energy for this? So I'm trying to get myself ready and prepared for this because it's new. And then I noticed like, so I guess they orgasmed already, they're climaxed. And they're just sitting on each other, like, and then she's like, looks at me and I'm like, kind of like this. And then I'm like, did you get it? I'm like, oh, you got apples. And he's like, yeah, I got apples. I'm like, great. And he's like, what? I'm like, nothing. I take the apple and I'm eating the apple. I'm just like, wow, I'm just like slowly like biting on the apple. Because if you guys know, I hate apples. I don't like them. And he's like, you don't like them, do you? And I'm like, I mean, and he's like, okay, you don't have to eat that. I know you like applesauce though. I'm like, yeah. Me and Frodo both like applesauce. It's cool. So he's like, well, I prepared like a drink for us. And I'm like, what did you bring? And he opens up the cooler. He's smiling. He got me this little pink, I don't know if you remember, it used to be in Lunchbox, but it's like kind of a cylinder tube. And he starts twisting it off. The inside of it is metal, I guess, to keep it cold. And he's like, here, drink. And he hands it to me, and I'm like, what is it? And he's like, it's milk. And I'm like, here you go. He's like, what? I'm like, do you have any chocolate, like powder to put in this? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. I put the top back on. I'm like, this was really thoughtful of you. He's like, okay. So then I go over to him. I take like the apple out of his hand, and I start, you know, making out with him. This make-out part, you know, why not try this experience? At this point, you know, people are kind of watching us because it's like we got here a little bit late, but also it is late in the evening. It's like 3 o'clock, okay? And they've already had their fun. And the thing about a park is you can literally look at anybody, like you can see like all their body. It's the craziest thing. You notice like with little, like me, I don't just look at, it's not that I wanted to watch them, okay? I was brought there. I could see like scars and things on their body, like on their arms, on their legs. I could see like birthmarks. I could see like old injuries that like healed. Like the guy next to me, not directly, you know, the one with the girl, she was still sitting on him, and he was like reaching for something, and he did like this, and you could literally see the muscles moving and stuff in his back, but he had like scratches from her, like fresh scratches. And I'm like, this is like really hardcore, isn't it? So then, you know, Keigo's just like, I was trying to be the one, like, I guess mounting him and getting him, you know. So the first thing I do is I pull out his, you know, his special band part, and I start playing with him, and I put my lips on the tip of it, and then I start sucking, like, and then I like bite and tease at him, and then now it looks like swollen. So then like he starts trying to like remove mine, and I said, not yet, you know. And he's kind of just, he's like this, he doesn't look comfortable. He has his hands like this, like I guess he wasn't expecting me to do that. And he's like looking around, and for some reason he decides to just flip me over. And I'm like, Kego, I was doing something here. And so he's like, so then he starts making out with me, and like, so I start making out back. He's like moving my shirt. I'm trying to go to his pants and pull his pants down. Then he like takes my hand and he stops me and he pulls him back up, and I'm like, Kego, what the heck's your problem? And he's like, nothing. And he's still making out with me, and then he's like, okay. So then he reaches under my dress and he pulls down, you know, my panties, and he takes them off, and he like throws it by the food, and I'm just like, and I just look over at the food. I'm just like, so the food was like trash. Is that why you did that? Because it's really unsanitary. Not to say that I'm not clean. I have very good hygiene, but I wouldn't take your boxers, and I don't care if you just took a bath. I'm not gonna throw them by the food. And he's making out with me, and he's like, so I go to like try and remove his shirt, and Kego is like holding on to his shirt. I'm like, what the freak is your problem, dude? And he goes, what? I go, no, I'm like, I need to leave. We need to go. I said, let's just go back to your house. He goes, no, I want to do it here. I'm like, in front of all these people? He said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you want to remove your clothes? And he's like, I'm fine. Cotton candy, I got it. So now I'm kind of like a little frustrated. And the people are kind of staring, but they kind of have like a little frown on their face, like they don't know what's going on. So then I'm like, okay, well, so then I get ready to kind of like try and remove my dress. He like pulls it down. He's like, so then he enters me, he penetrates me. And I slowly, like, I'm sliding down on him. And I'm doing this, you know, kind of trying to ride him. And then I'm trying to like remove stuff, and he's putting my hands there to stop me. And I'm just like, so like, while he's in me, like, doing this, I'm just like, okay, I'm like, Kego, and he's just ignoring me, and just, so I'm like, so I'm trying to like, now I'm trying to like push him off and like, wait, I need to talk to you. And then he like turns me around so that like I'm face down on the blanket, and I'm like this, I'm like Kego, I'm like yelling. They're like, and there's some other people, they're like, hey, you need to stop. She's trying to tell you. And he's like, mind your own business. And I'm embarrassed. I'm like, so then I stopped reacting to him, and he just stops. He's just like, you know you want this. And I'm like, no, I don't. Why are you being a jerk? I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted because it looks like it's gonna rain outside, and I don't like storms. I tried to open a window to let some light in, and it's too dark out for there to be light, so he's like, he's still trying to enter me, and I'm like, now I'm like turned over. I like turned back over, step on my back, and I'm like, don't make me hurt you, because I'm trained, okay? But he's like, he just gets off of me. He's like, fine. He grabs my hand and he walks away from the park. He's leaving all of our stuff there. And I'm like, hey, what about our stuff? And he's like walking by all those people, and they're like, what's his problem? And he's like, mind your own business, mind your own business, mind your own business. Granted, you're the one who wanted to go to that park. So we get to the house. He like, I get in there. We get to the house. He shoves me in there, and he like slams the door. And I'm like, hey, what the heck is the problem? Like, I said, you wanted to go to, I guess, a makeout park, or like a fuck park, whatever it's called. Sorry, that was supposed to be censored. I'm trying to censor this video. I don't know, like, what do they, how do you get your YouTube channel, like, banned? I don't know. I'm trying to be a little more careful in what I say. That's why I'm trying to disguise everything. So he's like, you just push things too far. And I'm like, what did I do? Kego, I don't understand what the problem is. I was trying to remove your clothes. He's like, I didn't want those people to see me or you naked. We can have sex there, but we don't have to be naked. Everybody doesn't need to see every part of our body, especially yours. It's for my eyes only. Only me. Mine. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't want them to see you either, but you brought yourself there. Plus, think about, you know, I don't want to say giving a gift, but it's like they didn't have any problem, you know, removing their clothes in front of us. And now we're not going to let them see. We got to enjoy them, you know. We got to see them live. Live. And the fucking themselves, like, fucking each other, like, a few feet from us. We had front row seats. And you know you enjoyed that. You can't say you didn't because I did. Okay? And it's something about seeing it up close, and then you get the, it's not, we didn't just see, like, her putting him. We actually saw him. Actually saw his rocket, like, pounding against, you know, the biscuit. So it's like, you physically saw, okay? You know what that does to people? I mean, yeah, so you got a good scene, you got to see something good. And I kind of feel like it doesn't hurt to return a favor. I get that we don't have to, but you don't need to be like that. Especially, it's supposed to be a friendly place. Everyone's supposed to be happy. And it was your idea to do that crap, not mine. I would have never said that, because you know what? I feel exactly like he does. But I was just being open-minded because he told me that he wanted to do that, so whatever. I said, you don't know what you want. And he's like, why did you stop? I'm like, why did I stop what? He goes, why did you stop moving? Why did you cover your mouth? Why didn't you? I was like, you think I want them to hear me that way when I'm with you? After the way you were acting? It makes you look like an asshole. Then the fact that you didn't want to stop, he goes, because, you know, I can't stop once I get started. I'm like, I know. And that's a problem of yours. You need to learn how to. He's like, the only way I will ever stop something like that, like if I'm in you and I'm climaxing, he said the only way I'll stop is if I hear Frodo crying or something, because I can't help it. He said that's an alarm for me. It's a red alarm going off. I have to get up, I have to go. Anything else is, he said, anything else is like silence to me. Like, I don't hear anything. And I'm like, wow. This guy is really, like yandere, I guess, or like possessive. I'm like, okay, well, I feel like, you know, I don't know, if Toshinori was there with me, he would have definitely removed all that. He wouldn't have cared. He would have let everybody see, and they would have got a nice treat to see his hard body, like his big muscular body. Oh. And then Keigo too. We would love to see his chest. Like, he's a nice chest. Okay, he's a nice six pack. He's built like a bull too, the way he's. Okay, and we'll get to see his 12-inch piece. Just too damn big. Anyway, so I was like, you know, let's never do that again. So then I pulled him aside and I'm like, you ruined the mood, so like let me get the mood back. So I take him to the bedroom and I'm like, you know, also it's been over a week since Keigo had his chance with me, so we're in the bedroom, he's ripping off my clothes, I'm ripping his stuff finally, like just rip his stuff. Like, you're gonna know how this feels too later when you try and put your favorite shirt on and it's gone. So he starts like holding me, hitting me, and you know, I'm screaming, I'm grabbing the blankets and trying to pull them like over him like this. Like trying to pull it like over his face because I don't want him to see me. And he like pulls it away and he's like, don't hide from me. And he's like, you can't hide from me. And then, so then I turn over so that my face is like how he had me earlier on the when we were in the ground on the blanket. I turned over so that my face was like kind of down like that, and I put my face down on the bed, and then he turned me back over and he's like, no, you're not gonna hide. And so then I was like moving back and he's like, don't run. And I wasn't trying to run, I was just trying to like, I don't know, like slow him down a little, because he's like, it's really intense, it's becoming like a lot. And then I orgasm, and so now I'm like really tender and he's still like telling me, and I'm like, wait, and I'm like yelling, and then finally he like explodes. This massive amount of love milk is just like pouring out of me, it's pouring out of him, and then he pulls out, and then he's like, I'm like, what? And he's like, just lay here with me. And I'm like, I kind of want to take a bath. I'm like, you want to take a bath together? He's like, let's just lay here for a few minutes. I'm like, why? We're like dirty right now. We need to get in the bathtub. He's like, fine. So he gets up, he like runs the bath water. I'm laying there, I'm just like, what was that today? Yeah, I have no idea. So the bath is ready, we get in the bathtub and we're just soaking. And I told him, I said, let's try and connect more. I feel like our feelings, you know, let's just talk about how we feel. And he's like, you go first. Tell me about, you know, how you feel and if anything's been bothering you. And I said, nothing's been bothering me really, even though it has. But you know, he poured his heart out to me, told me like how he was feeling and how he didn't want other people to look at me and fall in love with me because they fell in love with my face, because of, you know, he didn't want them, you know, he didn't want them to see me. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. He didn't want, sorry, he didn't want others to, I guess, fall in love with like my, like, what is it called? Like my climax face or something. What is a climax face? I don't know. He said your face just turns colors and just gets so, and he's like, your eyes dilate and they get really, he's like, you get really big. I'm like, that's actually kind of creepy, but thanks for sharing that. He's like, you're just so beautiful, and he's like, I just don't want anyone else possessing over you. I was like, then you should never bring me to a place like that again, because I don't want people possessing them. I don't want people obsessing over you either. Not possessing, obsessing over you either, because you're gonna have to deal with the same thing if other women fall in love with you. He said never, and I said, okay, well let's just agree not to do that again. And he said fine. So then Keiko starts falling asleep in the tub, and I'm just like, I get out and I'm just like, he'll wake up whenever. And I wrap a towel around me and I'm just like, I'm looking at my clothes and I'm like, and I looked at his and said, yep, his clothes are ripped too, so whatever. And I call my guide, and my guide brings me back here. As soon as I get back here, I start writing a letter to Toshinori. I'll read the letter to you guys, like, in my next video probably, before I go back to talk to him. Because this is really a sit down and talk about it situation. If I am going to lose my my anal virginity to Toshinori, he would be my very first. And it has to be about more than what I did. It has to be because you're trying to go to another level with me or something like that. It can't be because you're retaliating. It can't be that at all. Because I can just see myself, I don't know. It would not be pretty, okay? So yeah, there's that. So that's what happened when I went there. I couldn't believe it. Like, it's just unbelievable what I had to deal with Keigo. He's just so unpredictable, and taking me to a place like that, but it's not letting me indulge in it. If that was the case, you should have told me to look away from those other people. Not to, you know, get you know, caught up in this scene. But how can you ignore something like that? You can't. It's not like these people were beautiful, okay? All of them. It's like a goddess park or something. I don't know. So weird. Anyway, I was open-minded. I tried, okay? He was the closed-minded one, so you really can't blame me for that. Alright, now I'm going to share with you some personal information because I did say that I was, and I never told anyone. People don't talk about this, but it's called, I'm worried about my family, because I have women in my family or girls in my family who are not at an age yet where they're old enough to understand a lot about sex, and they don't talk about that in school. It's a very taboo subject. They should start teaching kids as young as 10 years old, because you're able to get your period at 10 and 11 now. That's how early you're getting your period. And if you get sexually assaulted by someone, you know, raped or whatever, or you have sex with someone, there's a chance you can get pregnant. And with these new laws put into place, I mean, then you're forced to have a kid at like 10 or 11. Is that right? This lady who passed this law, I believe she's very evil, because she used to be for at-child abortion, at birth abortion. That means that as soon as you have your kid, She's for killing the kid right after they're born. What? Who does that? And then later you decide to do this, making abortion illegal. Like I said, evil, pure evil. Also, so I'm going to talk about a situation that happened. It was around the time before I got sterilized. I do want to offer some guidance for you guys, and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about what I think my solution should be for if you're worried about what's happening now. Because I don't see this going away. I see it getting worse. Because you have all these states that'll be at standstill. Think about all the places that'll be overrun because they're still open and they're still able to provide health care for women who need it. And it's about more than, if you're a guy, you're not gonna understand. The most I can have you do for me right now is just listen to what I have to say, because this is not just an opinion. This is an experience of mine. Cotton candy doll, me, I'm not a party girl. I don't go to parties, I don't go to clubs, I don't do any of that. Mainly because I'm originally from New York and those places get shot up. We're just looking to have a good time. Hey, there was a club that got shot up, and the only reason I didn't go that week is because I just didn't want, I was like, I'm just not gonna go. And my friends were like, oh, you don't want to hang out this week? And I said, no, I'm just not in the mood to. This is in the earlier days, okay? I didn't even then I didn't go to the club that much. I went once in a while. And like the very next day, that place was shut up. All the clubs, mostly, they're not. Anyway, a friend of mine invited me to go with her to her cousin's club. It was her birthday. I got her, I bought her this really expensive outfit for her birthday. I said, drinks are on me when we go there. My plan wasn't to go there and drink or do anything. Okay. Here's where people get it wrong. Date rape, and rape like that, it usually happens with people you know. You don't have to personally know them, but you could have met them. They're usually in the group that's with you, okay? And from the beginning, you're a target when you walk into that place. You know, nix the whole, someone's waiting in there for me. You know, I'm gonna be, you know, hyper aware of the people around me there that I don't know. It's usually someone you know, or in my case, someone I met. I didn't know them, but I knew who they were. I'm not gonna say what their relationship was between those two. Okay, between the person who got invited. Anyway, so we're at the club, and this is the thing. You don't suspect anything, okay? Victims don't suspect anything. You think you're just gonna have a regular night, okay? So I'm there with her. I didn't have money to get in because I didn't know I was supposed to bring, like, I think it was like $40 or something. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of money, and I'm also not gonna spend any more money because I've already bought like a $200 outfit for her to say happy birthday. So she paid my way in. We got there. She's like, are you hungry? You should eat like a bunch of food. That way when you drink. I said, well, I'm not really gonna drink like that. It'll be fine. So we're sitting there, and they bring over the food, and I'm staring at it, and I'm like, I'm actually kind of hungry. She's like, why didn't you order it? She goes, and her brother goes, you know what? I'm gonna order it for you. You'll be fine. So her brother orders the food, and then so we're all kind of sharing it. We're just kind of like, and so I'm sitting there. Anyway, her brother is really hot. His friend next to him, it's just the hot guys club, I guess. So we're there, and so the night goes on. She's partying and dancing. I'm kind of just sitting in the side, kind of like a square. I should be partying with her, right? Because it's her birthday, we're supposed to be partying. But I decide, you know, I'm gonna just, you know, stay out of line of the drinks. She comes over and she brings me a drink. She's like, here, I got this for you. She goes, take it, you know, drink it down. So I'm like, okay, it's your birthday. Yeah, and I, you know, I do that and I drink it down. I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna have one shot. It should be fine. And the thing is, I'm not a lightweight, okay? I don't drink all the time, but I'm not a lightweight. I'm not gonna fall over if I have a few shots. I'll be fine. I had like 2 more shots, and I was feeling a little bit tipsy, and I'm like, okay, let's decide not to drink anymore tonight. I'm in a good place. I have like kind of a nice, you know, a nice feeling. I feel warm and relaxed and just kind of carefree right now, and it's okay. And I hear, birthday girl, birthday table, Everyone, yay! And they brought over these drinks that were in like a tube. I don't know if you've ever been to clubs where they do that, but the tube was about this big, and it was about this long. So they come around, they pass it at the table, they pass it around the table. But what happens is you drink it, and you give it back to them, and they put it back in their slot. So they handed me one, I drank it, put it back in the slot. And so the birthday girl drinks hers down, put it back. I feel someone tap me from behind, the person who, targeted me. They gave me theirs, and then I tried to put it back on there, it was empty spaces, okay? So imagine, okay, like this, right? It's supposed to be Hello Kitty. This is supposed to be Hello Kitty, but it's not gonna look anything like her because it broke. So these are the drinks, right? There's more than 4. There's like 6 or something. I try and put the full drink back in there, and they're like, no, you have to drink it. You can't put it back. And I try and pass it back to the person who gave me it, and I'm like, I don't want it. And they're like, just drink it. So I'm like, fine. I just drink it, right? And I put it down. So I'm sitting there. I sit next to my unsuspecting self. Sits next to one of the people that obviously was planning my demise by the end of the night. And they take my hand. They take my hand like this. They do this. So I squeeze their hand like dope. And they squeeze it back. I squeeze it even harder. And they squeeze it so hard, I'm just like... So then I like snatch my hand away from them. Like, what the heck? So then she's like, you ready to go? I'm like, yeah. So we get back to the house. Everyone didn't go home. We decided to go to a designated place. And they said there was enough places where everyone can sleep. So I ended up, she slept somewhere. My friend, the birthday girl, slept somewhere with her boyfriend. They went in a separate room. I went in a room by myself because I was just like, okay. And I was like, we have like Gatorades in the refrigerator in case anyone's like hungover, and I'll just hand them out, whatever. I go there, I'm laying down, and a homeboy walks in, whatever. He goes on the other side of the bed, and I'm just like, I look over, and I just go back to sleep. So then I feel them like touching me, like trying to touch me. And so I don't really move. I'm just like, what the hell are they doing? Maybe it's an accident, because at first I felt like they kind of brushed against me with their hand, like that or whatever. And I'm still in all my clothes. Keep in mind I'm wearing a dress because it's a club, okay? So nails, eyelashes, everything. I'm laying there like, and I'm just like laying there, and then they touch me again. This time they're like actually feeling on me, like trying to like grope me and stuff. And I guess they thought I was like really wasted because they gave me like, I was already tipsy before I got that little tube drink. Then they gave me theirs. It's kind of just like the messed up mindset. So I got up and I left out. I waited until this person fell asleep, and I went back in there, and I like went to sleep next to them. And I woke up before them, and I got up and I went into the living room and sat on the couch and drank my Gatorade. And I did not tell my friend about what happened at all. But I think this person had been planning it. And even though the person was really good looking, I why did that pop up at the bottom? Video's still recording, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. I didn't tell her about what happened. I just never went over there again. And then the second time it almost happened, it was the same deal. Not the same person, someone different. I knew them because I knew them because I met them. I didn't actually know them, but they had been targeting me. The thing is, you never know if you're going to be a target. You might go in a place and think, oh, I need to watch out for these guys, but it's usually the people you're with, so that's where they get it wrong. Also, if I was really, really, like, wasted, there's a chance I could have ended up, like, naked beside them the next morning and then woke up and been like, what the heck happened? So, and another thing, alcohol is the biggest It's the biggest date rape drug out there. Okay. Imagine if abortion was illegal and I had accidentally got knocked up by this person who I had no intent of having any type of relationship with. I was literally just there for a friend's birthday, and they ended up, or say like they just flat out decided, hey, they're gonna flat out just rape me, period. Like, even if I try and get up or anything, they would just hold me there and just, I guess put their hand over your mouth or whatever. I don't know how that happens to where, but usually it's a situation where it's not easy to get out of, or you're alone with someone. I wasn't completely alone. I had people in the other rooms, but I was far away enough that this person felt like it was safe enough for them to try to do that. As a woman, I've dealt with this I've probably dealt with this about 3 times, and each time it has happened to me, I've never suspected, hey, I might be a victim. So that is why I say, and it was before I was sterilized. So I could have, if it had happened that way, I could have been pregnant. I could have gotten pregnant, and I could have ended up having to give birth to the baby or the child if abortion law was put in place to where I couldn't do it. And then I would have a child in this reality, not just in my hero. So I feel like I wanted to share that for those people that think that that it's okay that for any situation you should be stuck in a predicament where you're forced to do something like this. You don't want to. It's really huge. I know a lot of people who are willing to die. They will die before they give birth to a kid. And some of these women are being condemned to death because of this. And it might be just, they might be on contraceptive. They might be on every birth control pill in the world. They might be using protection. Any of those could fail, and then they're stuck. They have no choice. So my advice to you is, every woman everywhere, not just in places where it's legal, they need to decide for themselves. They need to sit down, you need to decide if you want children in your life. If you really decide you really want to be able to have kids, then yeah, try and stick to the contraceptives and try and do what you have to do, and just know that you just have to deal with any possibility, even date rape or something like that, or rape. You will have no choice but to have the child, and you need to find a way to be okay with that, even though it's not okay. But if you know for sure you're never going to want to have children, that you don't ever want to have to worry about this, it might be a good idea to look into getting, look into getting sterilized, or look into getting your tubes tied temporarily, because they can go in and they can untie them. You can go to any doctor and ask them for that, and they'll do it for you. I don't have anything tied. I have my uterus removed, so there's no chance in hell that I'll just accidentally get pregnant. But regardless, it's not going to stop people. It's not going to stop men from being attracted to you or wanting something from you. Heck, they don't even have to be attracted to you. They can just want it because they don't have it in their lives, or maybe they're used to taking things from women and they feel like it's okay for them to do this. They have a right to do it because they're a man, and men are more superior, and it's not true. Some men are just the dumbest creatures on the planet. Like, I feel like mostly all men have lost their humanity, besides in My Hero. That's why I only with the people that are there. I'm not upset Frodo's my child. I'm not upset that, he saved him. He had a reason for it. It wasn't out of impulse. It wasn't, you're gonna have my child no matter what. He did it to save a baby's life, a baby who was already here, who had been born. And they didn't decide to eliminate him after birth, bro. She is so evil. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't know that. I don't see how she was ever allowed to be able to make a decision like this. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to tell you about my real life instance. It's happened a few times. And like I said, I've never suspected it. It was just, you have no idea, you don't know. So, My advice is just to be aware and just know what you want to do in the future. Make a decision, because you know there's probably going to be a time when you won't be able to do this. You're not going to be able to choose anymore. They'll just decide, you know, they're no longer going to remove reproductive organs. They're no longer going to tie tubes or anything like that. So if you know for sure you want children, I would be okay with, you know, just you would stick with those contraceptives and things that prevent it. And then try and practice, you know, safe sex as much as you can. And that sort of thing. And that's all I have to say about that. Hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully, because it's probably not. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. And it probably won't get better for women. I really am worried about the children, because they're the ones who have to. There's a lot of disabled children or special needs who get assaulted too. And who get raped by people. Not just men, but women too. Women molest kids, not just men. So, and men, if you think you're safe, you're not either. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that, and just let my voice be heard there, because I feel like a lot of people are just like, people are irresponsible, and you know, they should be able to just have the kid if they go around, you know, being a slut or whatever. But I mean, honestly, that's not always the case. You don't always plan for that. And there's people who are very careful, and they'll still, you know, end up in a predicament where they have to make a choice like that. So I'm just saying, like, just be careful in your decisions. Just make your decisions on what you're going to do. You need to really think about this. It's important. Yeah, so I know that was a long talk. It was probably longer than my actual story time video, and I'm sorry if it was, but I had to say it. Anyway, I just want to thank you all for watching and supporting my video. And if you guys like this video, don't forget to give this video a like. If you hated it, you know what to do. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you're notified when other videos like this become available. Also, don't forget to comment too. Tell me what your opinion of this, what you think. Do you think that it's wrong for me to think this way, or based off of my experiences that I could have did something better? I really was trying to be careful, so I really had no intention of even really drinking or doing anything, so it just turned out that way. But then after, you feel like such a bonehead, you know, you feel like, how was I that dumb? It's like, really, you weren't being dumb. You were trying to just celebrate with your friend. You know, it's the other people that are in the wrong. But it'll never be looked at that way as a woman. You know, you went partying, you know, you deserve that. And it's like, that really wasn't your intent. You were a target all along. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I just threw that in there. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.